woman you are speaking to. Whether they are conscious of it or not, women are attracted to competent and capable men. And that competence and capacity matters most when he is under duress and difficult circumstances. So if the scariest activity in your life is talking to a woman, then you are at best untried and at worst a coward. Just telling it like it is. As I've said before, the biggest obstacle in the path of men getting what they want in today's sexual marketplace is cowardice. And while we may all start out as fools, more or less insensitive to the real risks we might be facing, no man begins with courage. That is something that must be cultivated over time through the process of doing difficult things. Trust me, the harder your life becomes, the easier it will be to talk to women. And there is some empirical evidence to support this. One of my all-time favorite psychological studies is the study of the two bridges, which I will briefly summarize. There's a park in Vancouver, Canada, that contains a deep canyon. An old rickety suspension bridge was built over the canyon some time ago that still stands. However, this bridge was deemed too scary for kids and families who ostensibly would also like to enjoy the park, so a sturdy, modern bridge was built over the canyon close upriver. In any case, the study took place on these two bridges. And what the researchers did was plant an attractive young woman in the middle of each bridge who was instructed to ask solitary young men to complete a projective personality test called the thematic apperception test. However, what the researchers were really trying to figure out was how many of these men would ask the researcher out after the interaction. What the researchers discovered was not only were the responses of the men on the rickety bridge significantly more sexual than those of the men on the stable bridge, but that the men on the rickety bridge were significantly more likely to follow up with the researcher after the interaction when compared with the men on the stable bridge, like over 4 times more likely. That's an enormous difference. The researchers determined that this study provided further evidence in support of the emotional sexual attraction link. While the connection between aggression and sexual arousal had already been firmly established, this experiment suggested that other emotions, in this case fear, could also contribute to sexual behavior. It turns out that when a person does risky things, like crossing a rickety suspension bridge, it makes it more likely that he will do other risky things, like asking out an attractive woman. It's like doing the dishes. Your hands are already wet, so what's one more plate? Neat, huh?